This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Pull the hood release lever underneath the steering wheel. Slide the safety latch and raise the hood, then support it with the rod. Brake fluid level. The brake master cylinder is mounted at the left rear corner of the engine compartment on the driver's side. The brake fluid level is checked by looking through the plastic reservoir mounted on the master cylinder. The fluid level should be between the maximum and minimum lines of the reservoir. If the fluid level is low, wipe the top of the reservoir and the cap with a clean rag to prevent contamination of the system before the cap is unscrewed. Unscrew the cap and top up with the recommended brake fluid, but do not overfill. While the reservoir cap is off, check the master cylinder reservoir for contamination. If rust deposits, dirt particles, or water droplets are present, the system should be drained and refilled by a dealer service department or a repair shop. After filling the reservoir to the proper level, install the cap and make sure it is fully seated to prevent fluid leakage and/or contamination. Engine oil level. Engine oil is checked with a dipstick, which is located on the side of the engine. The dipstick extends through the metal tube down into the oil pan. Engine oil should be checked before the vehicle has been driven, or about 15 minutes after the vehicle has been shut off. If the oil is checked immediately after driving the vehicle, some of the oil will remain in the upper part of the engine, resulting in an inaccurate reading of the dipstick. Pull the dipstick out of the tube and wipe all the oil away from the end with a clean rag or paper towel. Insert the clean dipstick all the way back into the tube and pull it out again. Note the oil at the end of the dipstick. At its highest point, the oil should be above the Add mark in the cross-hatched range. To add oil, remove the filler cap located on the valve cover. After adding oil, wait a few minutes to allow the level to stabilize, then pull the dipstick out and check the level again. Add more oil if required. Install the filler cap and tighten by hand only. Coolant level. The coolant recovery reservoir is combined with the windshield washer fluid reservoir, in which there are separate compartments for the two fluids. The level in the reservoir varies with the temperature of the engine. When the engine is cold, the coolant level should be at or slightly above cold full mark on the reservoir. Once the engine has warmed up, the level should be at or near the full hot mark. If it isn't, allow the engine to cool, then remove the cap from the reservoir and add a 50-50 mixture of ethylene glycol-based antifreeze and water. Don't use rust inhibitors or additives. Install the cap. Drive the vehicle and recheck the coolant level. If only a small amount of coolant is required to bring the system up to the proper level, water can be used. However, repeated additions of water will dilute the antifreeze and water solution. In order to maintain the proper ratio of antifreeze and water, always top up the coolant level with the correct mixture. Power steering fluid level. Check the power steering fluid level periodically to avoid steering system problems, such as damage to the pump. Run the engine until it has reached normal operating temperature. With the engine at idle, turn the steering wheel back and forth several times to get any air out of the steering system. Shut the engine off. Remove the cap by turning it counterclockwise. Wipe the dipstick clean and reinstall the cap, making sure it's seated. Remove the cap again and note the fluid level. It must be between the two lines designated full hot range with the engine warmed up. Be sure to use the proper temperature range on the dipstick when checking the fluid level. The full cold lines of the reverse side of the dipstick are only usable when the engine is cold. Add small amounts of fluid until the level is correct. The fluid should never go above the full hot mark. To ensure the power steering system is functioning properly, check the power steering hoses and connections for leaks and wear, and also check the condition and tension of the serpentine drive belt which drives the pump. Automatic transmission fluid level. Since the transmission fluid expands as it heats up, the fluid level should only be checked when the transmission is warm and at normal operating temperature to achieve an accurate reading. If the vehicle has just been driven over 20 miles, the transmission can be considered warm. Immediately after driving the vehicle, park it on a level surface, set the parking brake, and let the engine idle. While the engine is idling, depress the brake pedal and move the selector lever through all the gear ranges, beginning and ending in park. Locate the automatic transmission dipstick tube in the engine compartment. With the engine still idling, pull the dipstick away from the tube, wipe it off with a clean rag, then push it all the way back into the tube and withdraw it again. Note the fluid level at the end of the dipstick. When the transmission is warm, the fluid level should be in the operating temperature range, which is within the cross-hatched area. If the level is low, add the specified automatic transmission fluid through the dipstick tube. Use a clean funnel to prevent spills. Just add enough of the recommended fluid to fill the transmission to the proper level. It takes about 1 pint to raise the level from the low mark to the high mark when the fluid is hot. So add the fluid a little at a time and keep checking the level until it's correct. Turn off the engine. Windshield washer fluid level. Fluid for the front windshield washer system is stored in a plastic reservoir in the engine compartment. The front windshield washer reservoir is combined with the coolant reservoir, in which there are separate compartments for the two fluids. Flip open the cap and fill the windshield washer fluid as necessary. Then install the cap when finished. On early models, fluid for the rear windshield washer system is stored in a reservoir in the left quarter panel. To check the rear windshield washer fluid level on early models, lift the tabs and remove the access panel in the luggage compartment to expose the reservoir. To fill the reservoir, lift the cap on the quarter panel above the taillight and pour washer fluid into the hole.